Spirit of Texas Bank, Nissan, Slovacek Sausage, and Germania Insurance bring you this clip of the Texas Bucket List. Howdy, and welcome to the Texas Bucket List, the show dedicated to everything there is to see, do, and experience right here in the Lone Star State. My name is Shane McAuliffe, and this week we start things off in Waco at a museum dedicated to the legendary law enforcement that is the Texas Rangers. When it comes to the heroes of the Lone Star State, names like Sam Houston, William Barrett Travis, and Lorenzo de Zavala are well known when it comes to the history books. But there's another group of heroes who aren't as well known by their names as they are their hats and badges, the Texas Rangers.
Their origins go back almost now 200 years.
Myra Johnson is the executive director of the Texas Ranger Hall of Fame and Museum, a state museum that's been celebrating the services of the Texas Rangers since 1964.
If you're a Texan, either native born or adopted, the Texas Rangers are part of your culture.
With the Rangers' well-documented and enduring traditions, the museum bolsters and holsters a lot of history.
We have a collection of probably around 20,000 items that relate to the history of the Rangers that are tied to their service, artifacts they used, what people would normally think about guns and badges. But we also try to collect things that show that they're human beings.
The Texas Rangers got their ever-present police presence started back in 1823 by Stephen F. Austin. The Rangers were formed under the government of Mexico as a national guard to defend settlements against devastating Indian attacks, primarily by the Comanches. While traversing the Texas territory, they would also survey the land, and in 1836, they became pretty much the only standing military the Republic of Texas had.
Texas was, as most people know, an independent nation for a while. And the Rangers were the only reason that independent nation really survived. People that believed in it and got to be together and were willing to protect it with their lives. And so that really is the root core of Texas.
Over the years, the Rangers evolved into something else. One of the most famous crime-fighting forces in the country.
They were one of the first state police organizations put together in the western United States and became a model for a lot of the other states.
I've heard presidents can be in the room and people would rather meet you guys.
Is that so? Well, I've never been in the same room with the president to see if that actually happens.
Patrick Payton is one of the 150 Rangers that are tasked with taking care of 26 million Texans.
We handle all the major crime investigations, public corruption, and all the violent crimes.
They realize that they are not only working police officers, but they are state symbols.
You can ask anybody in this department, everybody at one time or another aspires to be a Texas Ranger.
Patrick is a true Texas hero that gets to pin on one of the most iconic badges in the world.
With that feeling, you also have an immeasurable amount of responsibility as well. Knowing how many men and women have worn this badge before you, and you have to uphold that legacy. So it's a great deal of responsibility, but it's also a great deal of pride as well.
This is the oldest documented Texas Ranger badge. It dates from the late 1880s. We know there were some earlier than this, but they have not survived.
The museum has an entire section dedicated to the Lone Star State label that is recognized in lands that the long arm of the law can't even reach.
The story of the Ranger badge is interesting because it's the most identifiable law enforcement badge in the world. The first ones were made out of Mexican silver coins, a tradition that continues to this day.
In a nod to its past, every Texas Ranger badge is made from a 1947 Mexican 5-peso silver coin.
You're pinning on a piece of history.
That's just the tip of the needle when it comes to the exhibits at the museum. Here you'll also find Western art, a plethora of pistols, and items from one of the most notorious cases in Ranger history, personal belongings of Bonnie and Clyde. That includes some of the high-powered pieces of machinery used to take down the lawless criminals in Louisiana. Then there's a mecca of media material that's been made.
The first movie that came out about the Rangers came out in 1910. It was a two-reel silent film called The Rangers Romance. And up to today, there have been more than 200 movies on the Rangers.
Walker, Texas Ranger, let's go look at it.
John Salveson came all the way from Oregon to learn about our heroes, and he's not the only one.
The biggest thing for people in the UK, how they know the Texas Rangers is from Walker, Texas Ranger, the TV show. So we thought we'd come out and check what the reality was like.
They're just real quintessential Texas. Texans need to appreciate what they have, but I won't tell a Texan what to do.
The Texas Ranger Hall of Fame and Museum, a fascinating place to honor an elite group of law enforcement officers protecting our great state, and well worth a stop on the Texas bucket list.
As long as there is a Texas, there will be Texas Rangers, so it's kind of neat.
This is the only official Ranger Museum in Texas. So, that has to be on the Texas bucket list.
Without the Texas Rangers, there would not be a state of Texas as we know it today.
I still look at them as the Rangers that we all aspire to be. They're our Rangers, and sometimes it's hard to believe that I'm part of their legacy as well. It's an honor. It really is.